Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in three, two, 1.
On the troll.
Yes, it is almost the next day. And how are you doing? We are great here. It's Friday, action night. So,
action night, you know. Our apologies, but you know us, we analyze. We can't just come here and spew nonsense at you all. We respect you too much.
yes,
Too much respect.
we would rather not be live
Then come here
than
and
come here and say what was not said
or speak
and speak
ill.
ill. Yes, so we are here. Please do the liking. Do the subscribing. Do everything that you need to do, the sharing. Because it's Friday. I'm sure you were bored. Thinking that we are not coming. No, we are here.
We are here.
Yes,
we had
Emily.
to be here. We had to.
Right. I see people are here. Hello,
Hi,
Buli.
hi.
Hello, Sbusiso.
Hi, Spusiso.
Tembelani.
Hi, Tembelani.
Patricia Sbanda.
Patricia
Khabo,
Sbanda.
Maray, Moyo, Nogukhanya
Thank you, guys.
Ngobo,
Thank you.
our members, Tuli Tools, Sims Klaba, George, Tabsile Leshoro, Messi, number 2, Vuyo,
Messi, such a
Ngwane,
beautiful
Joe,
name.
Monare, Slu, Kumalo. Yeah, and the list goes on. We greet you. We're here. We are hoping that internet is going to behave.
Yes, please. Yes.
All right, Emil, let's rock and roll.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel where we are currently deliberating the Senzo Meyiwa Trial. Okay, it's what we are passionate about, the justice system of our country. It's our current thingy. And this is the court of public opinion as well. You know how the thing goes, you know how we do. We deliberate on the day's court proceedings. Now, car track expert Michael Dupree was still on the stand today, and honestly, we were hoping that the defense would stand down the cross-examination of Mr. Dupree, but they decided, you know what, to continue and to play along this setup that has been, given to them. The judge overruled and said, you know what, this is what you're going to do. He said yesterday that that's what's going to happen. The state was going to do their examination of Dupree, and then the defense would cross-examine, and then after they can call their expert. So, yeah, and they agreed. The judge said that he made a ruling yesterday, remember you guys, and he said, I stand on it. And if Advocate Mshololo has a problem with it, then she can take him for review and appeal. So, brief summary of yesterday's testimony, comparing with Mokhani's testimony, is just a brief one. Who drove the Toyota Fortuner and whose AVL records are currently in use as evidence in court. Dupree said the last location on Mokhani's vehicle on the 31st of May 2020 was at the SAPS garage in Benoni, and Mokhani previously told the court that he didn't use his Fortuner on the 22nd and the 24th of June. By the way, the 22nd of June was a very crucial, important date, and somehow he didn't use that vehicle on that day. So Mokhani previously told the court that he'd experienced issues with the Toyota Fortuner on the 19th of June, which led for him to park at the garage in Alberton. Right? Do you remember that, you guys? And Dupree said that the other cars he was asked to compile reports on did not have the AVL system on them. So Advocate Baloyi today continued with the evidence in chief of Mr. Dupree, going through the day of the 21st of June. Dupree said at 1907 the vehicle was at a particular address near William Street in Norwood. At 1907, then 1921, 40 minutes after driving, the vehicle departed from the said location, and the vehicle proceeded throughout the streets and moved back to Waverley Road, previously referred to as the Flats, and the vehicle arriving there in 1941. At 2022, that same evening of the 21st of June, the vehicle departed from the said location, and the vehicle vehicle drove in the neighborhood, joining the entry towards Heidelberg Road. It went off again in the direction of the N12 in an east direction. So the vehicle proceeded in the M12 towards the direction of Benoni. Now at 22:13, this car at Benoni stopped, at some residential area apparently. And the other vehicles that were requested also to be checked for the AVL, Dupree said that they were not fitted with AVL. He only had the car registrations of those vehicles. And he said he didn't have the models or makes of those vehicles, which I found very strange. Was it not strange?
It is strange. It is strange.
The judge testified that he has been living in Baragwana area since the 1960s. He told Dupree that there is an over-feared bridge. Dupree said that he's not sure. Then the judge told him to check on his Google Maps. He mentioned Diepkloof Hotel. He said no one crosses the main road. Those who want to cross the main road use the pedestrian bridge. But he did say that some people do obviously take chances and cross. So this vehicle, if it's going from Eraton to Moroka, it moves around that area at Chris Hani. And he said, I just said I should mention it because nobody mentioned it. Now, why would they want to mention it? I mean, I was quite perplexed with the bridge thingy. It surprised me that how judge kanti manje ama bridge manje kanti kwenze njani. He said, just check to the bridge, just check if that bridge is there, because you spoke about a roof which would possibly interfere with the reception of the GPS. So la kuthiwa, when you are passing by a bridge, the GPS loses a signal. Am I understanding this correctly?
How big is that bridge? This is
Very
not a tunnel.
small.
This
I
is
saw
not
a
a
picture
tunnel.
of it. It's not a tunnel. It's like a bridge, and it's thin because it's for pedestrians. It's not.
So it wouldn't block anything. Not for 10 minutes. Not for 15 minutes.
Well, Dupree was busy saying thank you, my lord, when this bridge was being referred to,
Okay.
And then they just said, don't say I'm giving evidence. Don't say I'm giving evidence. But Atina, we get worried. We get worried every time we do this. So Dupree said that he will try to go to that area, and he was busy paging through looking for it. And since he allowed the evidence of Google Maps as well, because the judge is like, no, use your Google Maps and find and look at that bridge and see it, Yeah, and I was like, okay, so if this is allowed, then the defense might as well also use this Google thing. They have coordinates. I mean, why not? You understand?
Yes.
So Dupree was saved by the internet not working in the courtroom. Yeah, it did not work. They said they lost the signal, so he couldn't use the mapping thingy. So I was like, okay. And then Advocate Charles Mnisi for accused number 3 said that he does not have cross-examination for Dupree. Advocate Zitulele Nxumalo for accused number 4 also had no questions. And Advocate Zadile Mshololo asked for a 5-minute adjournment to consult. And then Advocate Nyeki, who is with Mshololo, is the one who ended up cross-examining Mr. Dupree. So I found Mnyeki's cross-examination quite interesting, I won't lie. And the fact that Mshololo stood down to give her colleague that type of opportunity.
It's recommended. It's a good thing. I mean, Mnyeki is not a rookie, you can tell.
Yeah.
His line of questioning. Maybe is entering the terrain of high courts. Yeah.
So it's very refreshing whenever I see that from black legal people, that we are going somewhere. It's interesting. Yeah, because everybody has their style, and Munyeki also has his own style. So let's go through his cross-examination.
Yes.
Munyeki started off by saying, my questions relate to the 18th of June 2020.
Yes.
Dupree said that the trip started at the flats at 8 minutes or 11 minutes past 8 in the morning, and the vehicle went to no. It started at the flats at around 6, and then by 8 o'clock, 11 past 8, that vehicle was at the Pretoria North Police Station.
Yes.
And Dupree said that Mohane's car arrived at the Sibanye Stillwater mines in Carltonville just after 10 a.m. on the 19th and remained there for about 7 hours, leaving after 5 o'clock in the evening. So Munyeki then asked at Sibanye mine, how long did the vehicle remain there? And Dupree said that it arrived at 10:25, remaining in the mine area at 16 minutes past 5 before leaving. So Munyeki asked, how many hours is that? And Dupree said almost 7 hours. Munyeki asked, you said the vehicle remained in Carltonville for a while, going up and down. And Dupree said the vehicle was in the vicinity, switching on and off, but it was at the mine. And Munyeki said, this up and down, can you say that what was happening? And Dupree said that's the location where the vehicle was at Sibanye Protection Services and moved back to its original stop. So remember what was happening here according to accused number 2's version, right? Briefly, he said they took him there to the mines, Sibanye Stillwater mine. The reason why they took him there is because he had said that he was at work on the 26th of October 2014. He was sort of looking for an alibi to say that I did not commit this crime because I was at work. And then turns out that he wasn't supposed to work on the Sunday because they don't work on Sundays in that company. So they were saying that they were going around that day. They went to pull the records from HR or something like that. So it was a very busy day. It took them 7 hours to inquire whether Ntanzi had been at work or not on that day. So they went and they pulled the HR, the investigators, and then they started asking about the gold tooth somewhere in between there because the next day they took him to the dentist. So yeah, a lot was going on. 7 hours. 7 hours. So it then went to another location, then the mine hospital area, then left the hospital area and left Sibanye. Munyeki said, we are still on the 18th of June 2020. We proceed to the engine garage where the vehicle arrived at 18:53. Dupree said that the vehicle stayed there until 11:30 at night. It did not, Munyeki says, it did not do up and down. And Dupree said no. Munyeki then asked. Wrong answer.
It was wrong.
That is the 5 hours it was at the engine garage.
It's wrong answer.
And he said it did not do up and down.
It's not correct.
It's not correct.
It did.
It did do up and down.
It just moved around that area.
The vicinity. So Munyeki then
For some
said,
of us who visit a court now and then, you won't see me, but I'm there. I'm there. The judge knows I'm there.
So you visit the court every now and again. You do know people are going to look for you because the cameraman has.
How
So
would
now
they
they're
know?
going to start accusing random people sitting in the court just to listen.
How
By
would
the
they
way,
know it's me?
there's a lot of people in the Pretoria High Court who just wake up in the morning from the township or wherever they come from just to listen to court cases. There's some
Yes, I
people
was
who
there.
do that.
I was there.
There's some people who do that. It's an interesting thing to do.
Very interesting.
I wish I would have done it myself.
Gomameli indaba zabantu.
You learn a lot. That's all I can say. That people actually do that. There are people who do that.
Just to understand how people lie, actually.
Yes.
And then maybe you polish your own lies better.
Yeah, there are people who just go there just to see people's trials and stuff. It's very interesting. So some people, you see them there in the court and you're like, where are these people? Who are these people? No, it's people in Pretoria. Yeah. So Munyeki then said it did not do up and down, and Dupree said no. Munyeki said the ignition was off, and Dupree said on and off, but no movement. Now, on the 18th, it did not leave the engine garage. It only left the following morning on the 19th of June. So Dupree said it only left the engine garage the next day, which was the 19th of June at 19 minutes past midnight. Munyeki then asked, where did it go? Dupree said the N3, then N12. It left N12 about 33 minutes past midnight, going on to the Rifle Range Road and Ayrton, arrival at 38 minutes past midnight. So Munyeki then asked if you consider the time the vehicle left Pretoria North at 8:15 a.m. to Carltonville on 18th of June 2020 and came back to Pretoria at 2:30 a.m. the next day. If the vehicle had a passenger, that passenger would have been in there for 18 hours. And Dupree said he did not know whether the passenger was in there. He said it means I can't answer that question. He didn't want to answer this question. So Dupree notes that he saw score metals on the map. Score metals is the metal place that Mgomezulu was speaking of yesterday, right?
Yes.
Yes. So on the other side of the road to where Mohani was driving on the Heidelberg Road from the N3, just after 1400 hours on the 19th, as it drives on Heidelberg, moments later, Dupree notes a Kurleni Metro waste transfer area with what looks like empty bins, but the car is driving.
I know the place.
You know it.
Like a judge, man. I know everything.
But this is a similar description of what Mgomezulu was talking about steel tanks. They were spotted. The people in the court, they were zooming.
Hey, but we were zooming.
They were zooming. So the car stops at a mall at Newmarket, and Dupree says that that's about 3 kilometers from the wastewater transfer area. While the judge blocked the question about the route to Rustenburg as to why they went via Pretoria instead of via Randfontein to Krugersdorp. Because remember, you guys, I was mentioning, I'm like, okay, you are from Moroka police station, but why not take the Krugersdorp, Randfontein side? Why go via Pretoria and then from Pretoria? And by the way, Pretoria to Rustenburg is a long journey. Okay? It's quite a long journey compared to this route there, Randfontein. The Randfontein route is much quicker, so I agree with Munyeki on that. So they're like, the judge was like, it's speculation supporting Baloyi's objection. And I'm asking myself, how is it speculation? You want him to bring a map. You want him to demonstrate on Google Maps. Why are they calling it speculation? Why? I don't understand the courts sometimes. I'm like, why is it speculation? But then Munyeki said on the 19th, when did the vehicle leave Pretoria North? And Dupree said that at 42 minutes or 2:42 to a residential address. It left the residential address at 4:26. It went back to the police station and left there at 5:02 a.m. And then Munyeki asked, where did it go? And Dupree said, up to the N1 and M1 past Chris Hani Road, with the vehicle stopping at 6:46 at the Moroka police station. Dupree said the first record of the car leaving the police station was 12 midday, about 6 hours. The car had a GPS unlock in the area of Chris Hani Baragwana for 10 minutes. 10 minutes there was a GPS unlock.
Here's where I wish they lay the basis of asking such questions.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, like, they should have asked the issue of coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it baffles me that there are coordinates in a situation where there are supposed to be no coordinates, in a sense, in my thinking.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
If they're saying there's GPS unlocking, isn't that supposed to be some error? Not getting anything.
Not receiving any
There
signal.
shouldn't be coordinates that are changing. Do you understand?
Yeah.
According to the explanation of this man is saying that, okay, we take the old location, the last one where it was not unlocking, and we make it true for all this GPS unlocking. Why is the system not doing that itself? Why does it allow new coordinates that can be mapped?
So you are saying that coordinates are telling a different story to there's just stoppation
Yes,
for 10 minutes.
they wanted to map the coordinates.
Yes,
Do you remember?
that's what he was supposed to do.
They wanted to
agree.
to map those coordinates on that map. So if that is the case, then why is it not giving blank coordinates or something not related to numbers?
Because it says GPS unlocked.
Yes. Meaning there's disturbance in GPS.
Remember
How can it still receive information such as coordinates?
Remember how yesterday I was like, the GPS unlocked information for some weird reason has been taken out from his examination in chief. Remember, guys, and I'm like, why? Because
So, if I was them, because in my own thinking, I see there are coordinates that are running around, and I think I've get to see one of those ones on TikTok or something.
yeah, it's TikTok.
And when I looked at those coordinates, those are coordinates that probably are said to be sitting on a GPS unlocking, right?
Yes.
And if that is the case, but they happen to find a car inside the hospital,
Baragwana.
then my question would be, the theory. This is where I tell the story of my client. Then my client is saying that there was a stop in Baragwana. In fact, not just a stop, there was a visit in Baragwana where a certain sergeant or a certain colonel, I don't know, this guy is a colonel or what, was taken from that hospital.
Yes.
Why would your coordinates that are said to be wrong put these people exactly there?
Inside.
Do you understand? If these coordinates are not correct, as you are claiming that they are not correct, why would they support the theory of my client that had no preview on your information, that had no say on the information that you brought? You brought this information here. Do you understand?
Yes.
That is the first thing that I would have asked. The second thing that I would have asked, okay, obviously that one would be the last one. The second thing that I would have asked is, your coordinates, what happened to your coordinates if the car was in one position after ignition off, and the start coordinate? Are they similar? Is it one same number? Like coordinates in the ignition off, most of the time should be same as this is my thinking. Because the car is moving, it's not moving, it's stationary.
Yes.
Not unless you're gonna move a car through other means, which is taking it off the gear and moving it a bit if it's on a steep place where it can move.
Okay.
Then I would expect a bit of change of your coordinates there. But my question is, are they the same, those coordinates?
Coordinates for 10 minutes.
No, coordinates for, now I'm out of 10 minutes. If the car stops, ignition off, the car starts, the status says the car is starting.
Yes.
Are those coordinates of ignition off same as the coordinates of the car starts?
Good question.
Why I'm asking that question? Because I want to see the pattern of how these numbers are working. If they are the same, in a rare scenario, I would expect a change and I would accept a change due to the fact that other people can, like, the car is off the gear and then you just move it a bit before you turn it on, before ignition is on, before you start it. Okay, I would accept that change, but that change should be small, should be minimal. Should be minimal. Like, if I map that thing, it should still show me the same thing. I was not satisfied by the manner in which he was answering the issue of opening your cell phone in this house and moving to the gate and expecting those coordinates to be the same. It baffles me, because if you do that, it shouldn't be the same. It shouldn't be the same.
No, but
Yes, they're gonna show you in the same area,
but the coordinates.
but the coordinates are gonna change.
So for people who may be like, well, what are you two guys talking about? When you have this, in fact, they are there because Advocate Nisi, remember you guys, he was requesting for Dupree to simulate the paths using coordinates. That's why there was an adjournment, remember? And Advocate Nisi's cross-examination today, he opted not to cross-examine, but the judge didn't really want to give him a chance to explain the reason why he's choosing not to cross-examine. It's only coming to me now that actually his request was not met by Dupree.
He came back with a map. He's doing that while sitting there.
Yes, he did not map out. He's doing it as he's sitting there in court. He did not map
And now
out
that
those
has an element of being selective,
Yes,
because you're not gonna
he chooses.
you're
what
not gonna
he
map
wants.
everything. Yes, you're not gonna map everything.
He did not map everything. Yes, especially with regards to the accused incidents that took place of assault, the areas there. He did not
I'm not an expert, Emil. I'm not an
map
expert.
coordinates.
I'm not an expert, but here's what I think I'm going to submit.
Okay.
There's idling of a car that is moving, but it's on an idle status according to the AVL.
Yes.
And then there's an idling of a car that is really stationary.
Yes.
The idling of a car that is stationary, I expect coordinates not to change. This thing of drifting, satellite and whatnot, that thing is just, it's garbage.
Yeah, he added a new term called drifting.
No, that
I
thing is
didn't
garbage.
even understand when you were trying to explain it. What
No,
is he talking about?
he was lying, literally lying. The guy was just simple lying, and the coordinates that are generated by the satellite are the coordinates of the vehicle, not of the satellite. If the satellite is moving, the satellite is moving, but the car is standing where it's supposed to be.
No. So, we was confused.
So, if you listen to this evidence carefully, there are points of idling. There are points of idling, moving, idling. I'm implementing my term.
Yeah.
It's moving, but it's idling.
Yeah.
It changes the coordinates.
Yeah.
And then there are points of idling, stationary, not doing
no
anything.
Movement.
That is a question.
Which was what he was given initially. Now they've given us a compact, like, oops.
That is a question that
No mention of
later
that.
on you will hear Mngome Zulu
Stationary.
arguing with this man about. And then he will add the drifting part there. Do you understand? But continue. I don't want to spoil this thing. Continue.
Well, Munyeki then asked, is it correct that during this GPS unlock, you can't tell what's happening? And Dupree said that's correct. Munyeki then asked,
I'm sorry, Emil. This is where I wish Munyeki just drill down to this thing to say, you cannot tell. Yes.
He said.
You cannot tell through the status, or you cannot tell through the coordinates.
Ooh.
Because the status, in a sense, is a reaction of the coordinates, if I'm not mistaken.
That would have been nice.
It should be a function of the coordinates. So you cannot tell through the status because it says GPS unlock. While the coordinates are being generated, new coordinates are being generated. And it is funny because if you say those coordinates are not correct, then I expect a spurious situation in your data. Spurious in the form of this coordinate not even giving Baragwana. Maybe they should be saying you are in Albertine while you are in Baragwana. Do you understand? GPS lost.
Yeah.
But if the coordinates, if you map them, they show Baragwana, then there is no fault there. This could be, I could argue that there was human intervention here.
How so?
By saying that if the system was able to generate the numbers, then the status, however, is showing error or something. And those numbers are in line with the route of Baragwana to Baragwana and passing Baragwana. Then they could have been cooked.
Because what if they're saying 0 kilometers? So this
That thing of 0 kilometers is nonsense again.
per hour.
That thing of 0 kilometers is nonsense. Ngomezulu was arguing that thing. 0 kilometers. But I move 10 steps. Obviously 0 kilometers. Because in fact it's not even nonsense. I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Why are you saying you're wrong?
If we are calculating, isn't it that number rounded off?
I don't know if it's round.
So tell me, how does it calculate 1 kilometer per hour, right? So if it's less than a kilometer,
Maybe it is 0 point something something.
but there's no 0.0 point something.
Okay.
Have you heard where he's saying 0.05?
No,
The zeros are rounded off.
to 0.
The number below a kilometer is probably read in a sense of being rounded off,
To a
rounding off. Yes. So it's not going to be a kilometer. If it's 0, if it's less than 0.5, for example, it's going to be 0.
Okay.
So it's not a 0 because it's not showing the full information. Obviously, that space is probably a small space. So if it's 0, it doesn't mean that there's no speed.
So that's why you'd want to rely on the coordinates.
Yes.
Because the coordinates will
Yes.
tell you.
I would rely more on the coordinates because that interpretation is open for another argument. You have to argue
The state
until the
wants
end.
To say
And
it was standing still. It never
yes,
entered
which
Baragwana.
is a wrong assumption. So if I press my car and my car is moving, but very slow, how do you estimate that speed? It barely that watch that matches the speedometer. It barely moves from 0. How do you measure that?
You'd need to use the coordinates to find out if there was movement.
So the interpretation of a judge was wrong. The interpretation of a judge was wrong because what baffles Ngomezulu, but he couldn't argue it because he was not sure also, in a sense. He knows that the car moved. Not just moving off a car in a... I think that thing measures you if you are moving on a proper normal speed. Let's say if you are in a main road. Yes.
Hour, 60 kilometers per hour, it does. But if you're moving with a below a kilometer,
exactly.
Tricky.
So those zeros are not the measure of if the car was moving or not. One can argue that. And one can win. By mapping all those zeros, you might find that the movement is huge. Some of it is even kilometers, actually. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But there's no speed.
There's no speed.
According to the report says 0. And that's what Mgomez was arguing. You can be in between Connor Collins and Mali, right?
There's 0 speed.
Okay, you are in a garage, we expect a 0 speed. You are standing, maybe you are fixing whatever that you need to fix, as you were saying. And then all of a sudden, I see you beyond Mali Street, on the other side, opposite side from that T junction. Now we are on another block. And then from there, I see you on a third block, and the speed still reports 0. That is Mgomezulu's argument. For those who did not understand what Mgomezulu was arguing when he was arguing about the change within, not the vicinity of that garage, outside the garage. Because once you jump the street, the area that the garage owns is done. We are on a second area, which we do not know whose area is that one. And then you move again beyond, you jump Mali Street, which is making sort of an L. I'll put it an L, not a T junction. It's a T junction maybe, but if you map it, because I was mapping it, checking it, the roads, how they intersect when they were mentioning them. So it's like a T junction, as he was saying. But forget about the other part.
But
Look
the shape traveled is an
L.
L.
Look at that L that is confining that car to be in that garage. It's an L, that thing that is doing that. And then you jump that L on the other side of the L, and come on. The car is moving. Just that there's no speed to measure it. The car is moving.
So what do you think could have happened? Do you think the car just decided not to record the speed, or...
I think the car recorded the speed. As I said, data is what you make out of it. If you go there, maybe you find 0.0 something and you say round off, you're gonna get zeros. Do you understand? And I repeat, I still stand. I don't think that data is wrong. I don't. That data is correct.
You just need to
it's how you put it. Yeah, it's how you put it.
You just need to use the coordinates, basically.
So if you have 0.4, 1, 0.4, 1.67, and you say round off to the nearest number, 0.4 is going to be 0.
Yes.
And one can argue, there's no number here. There's no big number here. It's 0.4 obvious. Yes, it's small.
It seems like you're not moving. Rounded off, it's 0.
Yeah, 0. That means you are not moving. Then you can support your argument. No, I was never moving at that time, but you did move.
I corner. Plus, they were entering and looking for parking.
Obvious.
Allegedly.
Obvious.
They were looking for parking, so the speed obviously was reduced. It was tiny. You enter, you stop by the gate. You have to tell the security, I'm entering the hospital. You can't just enter a hospital, right?
Yes.
You talk to the security, you're like, okay, you wait there for a while.
Yes, then
And
it's
then as you
imaginary
enter,
movement.
You're driving slowly. You're looking for parking. You know, you can't speed.
And the other question that I felt they should have asked to actually cover themselves is what happens if I don't turn the car or the ignition on? Just move the car because I'm on an advantageous area to actually move the car without turning it on. What happens? The speed is 0. Coordinates are expected to change because AVL is not dependent on whether a car is on or off. That's why it could pick up the car that is standing, right? Even on the 24th.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in this thing, but I'm just looking at other ways. Yeah, in a garage, garages are normally in a higher positions. So to move from garage, maybe it's a bit it's a steep, but just moving a car a bit, and then we are able to go and turn it off on somewhere outside the garage.
And let's be real, you can't stand at that pedestrian garage for 10 minutes. For what? You just stopped in the middle of the
So
road for 10 minutes.
we might confuse you, but I do believe that, and I'm happy that I heard that you're saying it's now a prerequisite for law students.
Oh, yes. It's now mathematics. Yes.
Yeah, it should be a
Mathematics now
prerequisite.
has been made important for you to study law. The things have changed. But your mathematics is a requirement now.
No, it
Because
should.
before it wasn't. Even if with maths lit you could still study law. But now you need mathematics. And I understand now, looking at the situation.
No, it should.
I understand why they made those adjustments. I think it happened about a year or two ago. I get it now. I understand why they're saying you need to have mathematics, because those coordinates right now are standing in the way of this child within a trial going towards the defense.
Now, if they were to come back from this, Emil, they would need
Yeah.
to not even come back. They did well.
Yeah, they
But I
did
still
well
think
for
that
the limited.
They need more. You see,
need
the
an
questions that
expert.
I'm asking, they might sound irrelevant, but
Yeah.
you need to understand the numbers. Those numbers, you just need to understand. You can't take them the way they
in
are.
simple logic, for people who may not understand, you can't stand with a car on one position, be stationary, and the coordinates are changing. Think of it that way.
Exactly.
If you are standing at the bridge, then the coordinates must be the same throughout that entire 10 minutes. But if they are different,
Exactly.
there was movement.
Because, take for example an argument of in a car that is off. The car is parked in a certain flat. When they show that, did they show the coordinates that were changing, or they showed one spot?
They showed one spot.
Exactly. Why should it change now? Because the car at some point was moving, and all of a sudden, why should it change? Same logic. Nothing changes.
Nothing changed.
Ignition is off. The car is parked in a certain flat. That's it.
That's it.
You're going to get two coordinates. Negative something and positive something. That's it. That is it.
Okay, let me move on. Munyeki then asked, you can't tell if the car takes another turn, and Dupree says that's correct. Moroka to Vosloorus to Moroka, then straight to Rustenburg on the 19th and the 20th until you finally stopped at Primrose. Dupree's calculated and said that it took almost 24 hours, that entire journey from Moroka to Vosloorus, from then Vosloorus to Moroka, and then to Rustenburg. It took 24 hours. So Munyeki then said from Rustenburg, the trip ended at Primrose police station, and Dupree said that It did not proceed to Primrose on the 19th, perhaps on the 20th. And Munyeki said on the 19th of June 2020, they left Moroka SAPS at 1828. What time did they arrive at Rustenburg? And Dupree said about 4 hours later. So the car was at Primrose Police Station at 4:30, and Munyeki was done with his cross-examination. So Mgomezulu began his and asked if there was no adjournment. Yeah, the T adjournment today was put down. The judge said that they need to assist the witness to go because he made time, especially, you know. It's a rush. This witness is treated like a rush case. They need to quickly finish with this. It's important.
Because something might be seen, like that thing of GPS unlock. That thing, I look. If I was a what we call it, if I was a lawyer standing there, my focus would be in ignition, GPS unlock, and it would be on idling, highly idling. I don't care.
And that's where the accused are alleging they were assaulted at that is happening. Those idling, GPS unlocked, it's happening at where it supported the evidence of the accused. So you would really want to look at it. If
this guy, what I felt he was doing, he would go and put those coordinates there, and then he goes and say, yeah, look, it's within the area. For example, if you put coordinates let me make an example that is practical for everyone to understand. You are at FNB. And then I put coordinates. And I don't zoom in like on the map.
Oh.
I'm at Nazareth.
Oh.
Just opposite FNB Stadium. It's gonna show that I'm within FNB Stadium.
FNB.
I could, in fact, if I don't zoom more, I could be regarded as a person who was inside the stadium.
Yes, if I don't zoom.
And that's what that guy was playing with.
Oh, okay. Now it makes sense. Okay.
That's why this near thing, near. Yes.
All right. In the vicinity of.
That's why I'm saying.
In the vicinity of.
There is nothing wrong with the coordinates. Nothing wrong. Forget the status. Forget everything. You cannot change the coordinates. You can change the status. You can manually change the status.
You can change the speed, but you can't change
the only solution is to take the coordinates out completely. But those that are present, there's nothing wrong with them. So the guy was mooring them like that until you say zoom, and then he zoom. I don't see what you're asking.
Now all of a sudden,
and then
he was now dumbfounded, and it was strange. And now, do you see why the request of Mr. Mnisi was not done?
Yeah,
He was supposed to have set out these entire days simulating, right? And then when Mshololo says, my lord, we need to see the report before so that we converse with our clients and prepare. No, they were not given that chance. Now, do you see why that did not happen?
Yes.
So Mgomezulu then said on the 18th of June 2020 at 18:51, the car was on the N3 towards Grey Avenue when it was off-ramping. Does it show which direction it took? And Dupree said it reflects traveling in a southerly direction and proceeding on to Grey Avenue and turning into westerly direction. Mgomezulu said at 1852, it was in Collins Street, Alberton. And Dupree said that's correct. And Mgomezulu said, I'm looking at the car startup at 1915 and minutes later, it was at Collins Street. And Dupree said it's the same Collins Street. There's an open area at that Collins Street on the left-hand side of the garage. And Dupree confirmed that Mali Street makes a T-junction onto Collins Street, He said you approach Fraser Street in a T-junction. Mali Street and Grey Avenue are the only entrances to Engine Garage. He confirmed that.
Okay, Amen. Before you reach there, someone is asking, what are the implications of moving or not moving?
So I'm going to use Baragwana entrance that for the 10 minutes, right? When you are saying what are the implications of moving and not moving. So the implication is that if they were not moving, it means they stood underneath that bridge for 10 minutes in a highway, in a street that is considered a highway, right? Or a freeway. And then later on, we found from the judge, not even from the judge, from Gomezulu's cross-examination, we will find out later that there's actually an entrance by that bridge, that pedestrian bridge that goes inside Baragwana Hospital. So when you're saying not moving, it means it stood by underneath the bridge for 10 minutes. But when you say it moved, it means they entered Baragwana Hospital. For 10
Another
minutes.
example.
Okay.
Perhaps this one will clarify in a sense, because why is it important that even if you move just a couple of meters away, the guy is claiming that he was assaulted
Yes.
opposite the garage in
In an open field.
in an
near a
open field.
dumping site.
That's where the movement is important. And then the AVL come and say, no, there was zero speed here. And this guy say, generally, all this ignition on and off, all of them, they are useless. The car was just standing in one area, which is the garage. That is putting the guy near where he's saying was assaulted, but it's not exactly putting the guy in that area. That's how important that thing is. Only to find that if you zoom in using those coordinates and follow them, you would find that actually the guy was standing in an open area. You know, that I'm making an example why it is important, whether you're moving or not. Basically, that's what we are trying to say. It reduces the significance of the evidence that you gave or of the submissions that you are making to say that I was assaulted opposite, not in a garage, just opposite the garage.
In an open
In
field.
an open field,
Near a dumping site.
not on the left side, which the garage is situated on that, on the right hand side.
Yes.
And then the person says, no, I see this car standing in an engine
In the
garage. And you are saying in the very same car, that's where you were dealt with. So that's how important.
That's how important it is. That's the
Only to find that there are coordinates within
are
those
saying-
coordinates that are saying actually
you move.
the car was in an open area. I'm just making an example here.
It moved from the garage to the open area within that time that is
With a zero
specified.
speed.
With a zero speed.
Yes, there was a change though in numbers. I'm just making an example.
It's an example,
Yeah.
just to explain to what our family member was asking.
So basically, that thing of reading that thing does not need an expert. But well,
They need an expert because now
I'm
not
saying
happy.
it does not need an expert if you know how to maneuver.
Yeah.
If they knew how to maneuver this
Yeah.
guy, they would have gotten almost everything they wanted.
Which is why we were asking that they stand
stand
it
down.
down. Because they needed this weekend.
They
They
stand
would
it
have
down.
figured it out. And
Yes.
then Monday they would have been like, okay, we're ready to cross-examine. So Mgomezulu used the AVL and said the car started up at Mali Street. So if it would have made a U-turn, it would have turned inside the garage, Mali Street, and then joined Collins. Do you see now the implication? This is part of Ngomezulu's examination and trying to unpack it. You understand? Dupree said it's possible that he was not in that vehicle. He would not be able to give an exact answer on that. Like, notice how Dupree no longer wants to confirm anything. All of a sudden, he sounds like Bo Mohani. All of a sudden, he sounds like Bo Mukhula. You know, like he doesn't want to be exact. And Mr. Anonymous, I remember you saying that this expert, when he first testified, you said this is the right time. This is the right moment. This is because from the first time he testified to now, you can tell that there has been a shift of energy.
Yes, he's not willing to go extra mile.
No,
he's gonna give you what is in front of you. If you are able to pick it up and follow it up, he will give you the answer. But if you are not, well and good for NPA.
So notice how he didn't want to confirm that Miley Street and Collins Street, they are close to each other. They are conjoined. He didn't want to confirm that, which I found very, very strange, considering the fact that all he needed to do was just to zoom in and look at the street and be like, okay, they are, or they are not, looking at the evidence in front of him. But no, he didn't want to do that. Well, the judge joked with Dupree's at that moment in Afrikaans, assisting Dupree's not to answer this question, saying that he was not in the car because he was not in that car. He says, I don't want to confirm whether Marlins and Collins are joined because I wasn't in that car. What kind of an answer is that? Does that sound like an expert? Then Gomezulu asked, he asked that he should, does it take 5 minutes when you're driving, starting from Mali to join Collins Street? And for those maybe who may not maybe have a visual of how this Mali and Collins Street look, they're basically an L, like an L shape.
Yeah.
The other side is Collins, the other side is Mali. The way Mr. Anonymous was describing it, it's not a T-junction per se, but these two streets are conjoined like an L. You understand? So Dupree's did not want to answer this question. He said, my lord, if I can explain it, it's like this. When you have guests, the man is starting the car, but the woman is talking. So by the time she finishes talking, the whole 5 minutes has passed, and only then you start driving. So yes, the vehicle was started, but there's no evidence that it moved exactly at that time. It might have moved 3 minutes later or 2 minutes, I don't know, my lord. Which is why they needed to use coordinates. This is exactly why the evidence of coordinates was essential, because now he doesn't want to confirm that it would literally take 5 minutes to move from Collins Street to Mali Street.
I wish they could have just given me that report just to peruse, so that I can go and say, look, I'm noticing 1, 2, 3. In terms of these numbers, this is the pattern that I'm. Small patterns. Ignition off, ignition on. Is it the same time? Yes, it's the same time. Okay. Idling. Line number 1. Idling. Line number 2. Idling. Is it still the same coordinates? Yes or no?
Then
if it's a same coordinate, okay, it's a same coordinate. If it's not, would you accept that there was a bit of movement here?
Yeah. Looking at the coordinates, they're not the
Such
same.
questions, they were going to help them go a long
way to just nip this in the bud. But we move. Well, Dupree's attempted to also explain that GPS drifting thing, and honestly, it did not make sense to me, guys, his explanation.
Even Gomez was asking, why doesn't it write here GPS drifting?
And he was mumbling and mumbling. I was like, what is he talking about? What is he saying?
Because if that was the case, I'll tell you how this thing, if it was a case, that would mean that AVL is not complete. Do you understand? Okay. It would mean it's not a complete system. Why I'm saying that? It does not accommodate all the possible outcomes that can happen. Do you understand? The main aim is to determine exactly where you are. If it's going to be affected by the movement of a satellite, not of an object that we are measuring where it is, then that AVL is not accurate. Do you understand? It should by all means adhere to the object, which is either a car or the movement of a person with a cell phone and all. It should adhere to that. That, because that's a measurement we're measuring here. We're not measuring the measurement of a satellite here. So if there was a drifting issue that changes coordinates, then what should have happened is it should have said, Ngomezulu is right, it should have had an outcome that says this change is not due to a car moving. It is due to a satellite moving.
Okay. So that's why he was asking, why in the AVL does it not reflect GPS drift?
A very good question.
And,
a very good question.
Dupreez was saying it's not a status that we report. We've got a fixed status just for the sake of the report. All of us these days are using mobile phones to send somebody a location.
No.
If you need to, and we've seen that location moves around all the time.
No.
It's not a fixed location. It moves less while moving in a car, but while stationary, it is always in that figure of 8. It's just that you don't see it, but it's a small figure running in the background.
Here's a
of
follow-up
8
question.
Running in the background.
Here's a follow-up question. Are you now saying that this report is edited to that extent of excluding such status? Because I would believe that when they made it, wherever they made it, it had all the status. So you are saying that you wanted to see those particular outcomes, except seeing the drifting of the satellite as you put it. But that status is there. Are you saying that?
Well, even Mshololo's face, she was shocked.
No, it's wrong. The guy was
shocked.
lying.
The cameraman caught Mshololo at the
No,
right time.
he was laughing, yes, because it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense.
Well, to me, it sounded like Mgomezulu's questions were more expert than the evidence of the expert. I'm sorry. But like Dupreez, all of a sudden, he's defensive. He has dumped himself down for some weird reason. And we can only wonder why. We, the people, can only wonder why, you know? So Mgomezulu then said, let's move to the other vehicle that was in the same vicinity, but had no AVL on the 19th. Now, he said at 2:10, driving near freeway Rodekop, Germiston. The first off-ramp is Heidelberg Road, and Dupreez said that he does not know where the trip started and where it's going. All of a sudden, he was confused. So it seemed that he wanted to follow a routine. Do you understand? A sequence. It seems he spent the last couple of days not simulating coordinates, more like he was memorizing this sequence, in my opinion.
You see, people are saying, and I want to hammer this thing in your head. There is no report change, Brian.
No, it hasn't
No one
been
changed the
changed.
report.
Yeah, it
I'm
hasn't been
saying, I'm
changed.
saying to you. Let me make an example. I write numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? Now, Mohane comes and say, at number 1, this is what was happening. At number 2, this is what was happening. Car moving, number 3. Stop, moving, hash brakes, number 4. And then the guy comes, gives almost similar story, but in a summarized version. Say, okay, I will exclude movement of the car. It's immaterial. I will focus on ignition, off, ignition on, start, and then it is up to the defense to probe if they need to ask a question about the movement of the car, for example, which is something that they were not interested on. So the report was not changed.
It wasn't. You can remember with the bank statement
And
of
the numbers.
Mzansi as well, that it said there were no transactions over the weekend that he got paid in, right? And then I remember Mr. Anonymous saying that, hinting that it could have been outgoing transactions.
Exactly.
Does it mean that he gave incorrect.
Wrong statement? No.
No, he just
It's a
decided.
correct statement. Ayikho wrong land.
Yeah, they just decided.
What
to
is
give
wrong
them
is
what
is
favors
that
them.
you were looking for the full statement, the entire statement,
Yes.
but they
Of
gave you
all
a
transactions.
piece of that statement.
Yes.
They gave you a statement that is looking at the direction of outgoing monies,
Yes.
and that's it.
And they can simply say we were not interested in anything else, just the money that was going out.
Exactly.
Because we were under the impression that this is a hit.
There was no specification of what kind of a statement are we looking for. Are we looking for a statement that fully describes the transactions in and out and defining any activity that is happening in that account? There was no such. So they are not wrong by bringing the statement that is focusing on monies that are going out
Or monies that are coming in.
or monies that are coming
that
in.
could have been with Ntanzi's
It's
case.
up
Monies
to
that
you.
are coming in.
It's up to you to say
Not the
that.
ones that are going out. The
Yes.
ones that are coming in. And when they say, oh, why did you only do the monies that are coming in? It was to find the amount
My Lord,
for the
we
Nkari,
wanted to support.
for the heat.
We wanted to support our submissions, my Lord. We did not think that it would be necessary to subpoena the statement that my Lord is showing the monies that are. I mean, our focus is only focusing on monies that were coming in. That's what we were interested in.
Labutiva, that's exactly how it will go.
There is no prejudice, my Lord, that is done by this. This is merely a statement that is showing incoming money in Tanzi's account. Is that wrong? Oh, nothing is wrong with that.
Well, Ngome Zulu asked, what landmarks can you see there? And Dupree said the vehicle traveled on N3 taking Heidelberg off ramp. And Ngome Zulu asked, does it show a steel plant? And Dupree said there is a metal plant. Score Metals, again, confirmed. Score Metals. Okay?
But
There's
look at how
also
this
a
guy is
railway
putting
bridge.
it now. It does not want to associate it that much, saying it's far, my Lord,
It's far.
on the other side.
It's on the other side.
And
As
this
if
is-
it's like very far.
This is where I'm talking about zoom. You know,
Coordinates.
a car that moves,
Zooming in.
a car that moves in a two-way street. At a distance, it looks like one street. Zooming in shows that actually this is
Two lanes.
two lanes. Zooming even further in, it shows that actually this car was in a one-way street that has four lanes, and it was moving on a last one or the first lane, stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to say. The guy is not doing anything that is okay. There's what we call tax avoidance and tax evasion, right? One is wrong, one is correct.
illegal.
One is illegal, one is wrong, but it's legal. The other one is illegal and it's wrong completely. You can even get arrested for it.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong about people trying to avoid or trying to move away from tax by giving old shoes to people who are hungry
Helping the poor.
and helping in the name of helping the poor. There's nothing wrong with that. A person understands the system very, very well.
Well, the president said there's a railway bridge you are referring to. The vehicle passed under it, and it is at this location. And Gomezulu asked, does it reflect the dumping site? Well, Dupree said, after the train bridge, there's something here. Looking at this, it looks like bins over here.
See how it is?
Those who are the tanks. Those are the steel tanks that people who are anti-Ntanzi have been saying he's lying. He just decided to use different vocabulary and call them bins.
Exactly.
What is happening with Dupree? Guys, what is going on with Dupree today? Guys.
There is nothing wrong with what he's doing. He's just playing with the system. So it's up to the defense to actually go deeper. And for you to go deeper, you need to have been prepared properly, thoroughly. All the loopholes.
I saw Ngomezulu's frustration, honestly speaking.
I don't understand what you are saying. He was playing the player, also playing the whole game.
The whole game. Well, it said a Kurleni transfer facility. That's what he said. And Ngomezulu said that he is selecting the dates and time. There are things he skipped on purpose because they are not relevant.
Because that's case. When he asked, what are you saying?
What are you saying?
Trying to irritate Ngomezulu.
Well, Dupree said that he does not understand. He wanted to be taken from the beginning of the day like the state was doing. And finally he found the time. Isn't it the
same thing as Mukhane?
It's Mukhani.
No.
Mukhula. Oh, Mukhula.
Hey, it's the same thing as Mukhula. Mukhula, they say, let us start an off-ramp at
It's like, no, my lord, I
don't
understand what you're saying.
I want to come from Albertine.
He was doing the same thing to Dupree. He was. I was like, what is happening? This guy was so on point last week. What changed from last week to this week? What happened? What's going on? Then Ngomezulu directed him to where he was talking of, and he said, on the right-hand side, can you see that? Can you see? Does it show or reflect the dumping site? And Dupree said he needs to go to Google Maps to confirm. And he said that there is a Alban City Ekurhuleni Municipality Waste Transfer Facility. Ngomezulu then directed him to Ring Road this time around, where the car stopped. Asked if he can estimate how far it is from the waste treatment facility, Dupree said it is far. It's at a shopping center, and the estimate it is 3 kilometers from the Nando's Albertine New Market drive-through. It sounds like it's far, right? But 3 kilometers is not that far, guys. 3 kilometers is literally across the street.
Yeah.
From a mall. Think of it moving from this mall, this shopping complex
to wrong land.
The middle of the open area. Think of it like that.
Yes.
It's literally a short distance. But he's making it sound like it's in the next town. It's like 3 kilometers. I'm like, you can't be serious. Are you trying to play mind tricks or something? I'm like, yeah.
And then what the papers, what the journalists do, they don't know what 3 kilometers is. I get, they are going to go right. They didn't find when.
I saw a headline like that. They were saying he lied. It's very far.
I got journalism, Pella. You need not undermining journalists, by the way.
There are some who are good.
There are some who are good. But there are those who are well researched. There are few.
Yeah, they are.
And then you get those ones who are just ready to get a second check for next month.
I honestly prefer SABC ones. I find.
And then they'll go and say, "Hey,
I like
it is kilometers away." Listen to the writing. It is kilometers away, far from.
I'm like, literally, when you picture 3 kilometers, it's like across the street. Think of, I'm in the middle of the mall, the drive-through, the shopping center. And then I have to travel to the next street in the middle of that open area. Think of it like that. Don't complicate it and make it like fall into this trap. This is a trap, okay?
How do you know how this
dealing with the state, this particular state.
This journalist will exaggerate. Hey, it's like if the boss says they exaggerate.
They want to sell the papers.
They're like,
it's a trick.
It is kilometers away.
It's a job.
From when Tanzu allegedly was
assaulted. Yo, guys, a job. Even on YouTube, there's thing called clickbaiting.
They will clickbait the hell out of you, yeah. How they don't play
So
around.
even with papers, it's like that headline.
I agree,
You have to be exaggerating so that you are interested to read.
I
If
get
I
you
don't
wanna
put
you
the
wanna
title-
hear about Senzo Meyiwa.
Yes.
They would clickbait the hell out of you. Hey, what has Kelly done now? Is he spilling the?
He's confessing. I'm like, what? When did Kelly confess?
And you're like, what the hell?
I'm like, when did I miss this? And then you click it and they're like, oh my God.
That's how it is, man. We are all selling here.
I'm like, oh my God, why?
And they would clickbait the hell out of you.
Well, Mgomezulu said so there is a possibility of changes in that area, okay? Because after it showed that Nando's Alberton New Market Drive-thru.
Yeah, I tried to find when was that thing built. It looks fairly new though.
Yeah, apparently it is new and it needs research, that one, because I don't want to but it looks new from the pictures that I saw. It looks like it's a building that was recently built.
Is it a mall or a shopping center?
It's a mall. It's a full mall. So Dupree said, I would not be able to tell you that. Ngomezulu suggested that there wasn't even a shopping center in that area. So in summary, the GPS data presented in court on Friday showed that police stopped in the area at New Market Park Mall for over an hour, which is 3 kilometers away from the dumping site. Mgomezulu further argued that the mall was not there in 2020, and where are the new developments now? There is a new Nando's in that place was vacant. So this Nando's that they're talking about was not existent there. It was an open area. So apparently it was 2 dumping sites that were next to each other.
Yeah.
So Mgomezulu then said he would be taking steps to find the records that confirmed this new development. Well, he actually said that he could not be a witness and give evidence. The judge said he can go to the city council and request the maps and peruse the maps, and they will tell them what was built, what was not built, what was demolished, etc. And he asked, is that advice enough?
Even Mgomezulu. You know, good to these people are quick, man. They will reach that place. You've reached that thing. What is that thing? Tell me, that mayor. You will say, I don't have.
Who's the mayor of Johannesburg now? Is it Gwamanda? What is his surname? I forgot him.
Hey, you were not supposed to. Like, but yeah, it's fine. You can go and ask for this thing.
Yeah.
Your movement must not be known. Once they are known,
Well, he
Zakala.
announced and he said that he puts it to the witness that there was no shopping complex at New Market.
you should have done that.
But
And say, my lord, I will
objected,
quantify.
asking that they need to lay the basis of that statement. And Mgomezulu asked to move, stating that it's on the record. Not the interpreter saying that he was quiet because they were arguing. I'm like, hey, interpreter. This interpreter is spicy.
Azangithule ngoba nguthuli.
He's spicy.
Did you see where the judge, I think he was pissed.
Yes.
Uthi ke ummeli, whoa, judge.
I'm like, yo, icon. Mgomezulu addressed the coordinates, Idle Ring Road, New Market. The vehicle was there for almost an hour, okay? And then post the lunch adjournment, Mgomezulu started entering now on Koma Street. And he said it's next to Makalima Street. And Dupree said Makalima Street is one of the streets adjacent to Moroka Police Station. Mgomezulu asked, it is also indicated that the vehicle was driving near Chris Hani Road, Dlamini, Soweto, passes Mahloka Street in Pimville. And Dupree said the first reference to Mahloka Street was 1847. Mgomezulu then asked, my question relates to the position of the vehicle. Oh, by the way, I even forgot. Before the post-lunch sitting, there's a part where they were addressing the GPS unlocked at 15:48. And he said that the active image is the bridge. Outside the hospital entrance to the hospital is the bridge. So Dupreez could not say if it's the only entrance or not, because Mgomezulu had placed him to him that there's only one entrance to Baragwana Hospital. He thought that there were two entrances, but there's only one. And Dupreez didn't want to confirm or answer whether under or next to that bridge there's an entrance into Baragwana Hospital. So he said he won't be able to tell where the vehicle was because it's GPS unlocked. And also the issue of the road being busy that was brought up by the judge. Okay, the judge asked, does it consider the traffic? The traffic, and Gomezulu said it was level 3, it was COVID. Movements were minimum and lesser. There was lesser traffic. So yeah, and then at 1603 it was the Shell garage, and then of course he moved to the Koma Street and Mahloka Street, and then he asked, my question relates to the position of the vehicle when it was leaving Soweto through Chris Hani, and Dupreez said the vehicle was still in Chris Hani Road at 1847, and then it turned into Mahloka Road and it joined Mujaji. From Mujaji it went into Mdoni Street. Mgomezulu asked, before I could conclude my cross-examination, there is an aspect that I want to confirm with you through a reference to evidence of one of the state witnesses about the events of the 24th of June 2020 at Boksburg Court. Your evidence is that the motor vehicle was motionless on the 24th of June 2020. And Dupreez said the motor vehicle on the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th, it was at Benoni. So that Fortuna was at Benoni, according to the AVL, on the 23rd, on the 22nd, and on the 24th. So on the 22nd, a very important day, a different car was used by Mohani. We don't know what car it was. And as you heard, Dupreez said he could not pull the AVLs for the other vehicles, for they did not have AVLs installed. Let that sink in. Mgomezulu went to the transcribed records. Dupreez read where Miss Mshololo, where she asked what car was used to transport the accused to Boksburg Magistrate Court. Jonathan had said that the accused was transported with a Fortuna belonging to Sergeant Mohani. So this was literally to try and debunk that on that particular day, the 22nd of June, there was a court appearance that was made by accused number 2. So it was beautifully done to try and debunk that one. So Mgomezulu concluded his cross-examination. And then the state re-examined, okay? Baloyi asked counsel for accused number 5, Mr. Munyeki. And at the mention of Mr. Munyeki, the judge laughed at the mention of him. And I'm like, why? Did I miss something? Guys, did I miss something? Why is the judge laughing when Mr. Munyeki's name was mentioned by Advocate Baloyi? Asked about the times on the 19th of June 2020 when the vehicle departed at Pretoria North Police Station. Namely, the time was 05:02:10. This is like early in the morning on the 19th of June 2020. He also referred you to the time of the arrival at Moroka Police Station, still on the 19th of June 2020. And then at 6:46:28, what was the traveling time between the 2 points? And Dupreez said 1 hour and 44 minutes. So Baloyi asked, will the GPS also be able to give an estimated traveling time? And Dupreez said this GPS in this vehicle is not. If we refer to a GPS in a car like we consumers use it, yes, but this one is not. The functionality is a receiver. It's not the display type that we have. But yes, a vehicle with GPS would be able to tell your estimated time of travel. Hayi Dupreez namhlanje bekayala. Yo, he was so heavy. Yo! He wasn't being specific. I'm like, what is going on? But then Baloyi asked another question. He said, if you calculate it now, would you be able to get to the estimated traveling time on the same route? And Dupree said, if we have a GPS, we'll be able to calculate it. But now, not where I'm standing now. Baloyi then asked, counsel for accused number 1 and 2 is still on the 19th of June 2020. Questioned you about the GPS unlocked at 15:48:15 near Old Potchefstroom Road, just before the car went into a GPS unlocked mode on the 19th of June 2020. And 15:43:15, we see that it was traveling at the speed thereafter, 15 kilometers per hour. Then it goes to GPS unlock mode, 15:48, unit 15:58:16. Thereafter, we see that it's recording a speed of 13 kilometers per hour. And after 3 kilometers per hour, before it picks up speed to 54 kilometers per hour, those speeds 15 kilometers per hour and 13 kilometers per hour and 3 kilometers per hour, is it indicative of the traffic conditions at the time? Dupree's was like you referred earlier. You said it's one of the busiest streets in Soweto. Therefore, it could be going by your judgment that it could be. I'm like, yo, Dupree. I Dupree yala namhlanje akafuna ukuphendula nix. Even cross-examination of the state is giving them a hard time. I'm like, yo. Well, Dupree sounded like he was saying that Baloyi is the one who answered, or rather the state answered that question. And I'm going to assume that it was the interference of the judge earlier on by bringing the bridge. He was not having it. Baloyi then said, is it possible to calculate the distance before the car went into a GPS unlock mode that is now between 15:43:15 and when this car started recording or speeding again at 16:03:15? Is it possible to calculate the distance covered during the period when the car went into GPS unlock mode? And Duplessis said yes. The system would allow me to calculate it as such, but just looking at the speedometer, it would look like it's plus minus, or it is very close to a kilometer. It's 38 meters by rough calculations. So the speedometer of the tracking system reporting it as a kilometer would be a fair distance to report as a kilometer, my lord. And here I was livid and lost. And I'm like, 38 meters rounded off to 1 kilometer. Guys, how many meters make a kilometer? Isn't it 1,000? Isn't it 1,000 making 1 kilometer? Why does it sound like he's saying anything right now at this point to just get it over and done with, or to make Baloyi happy or something? Like, what was going on with Dupree, guys? Icon. Baloyi, given that distance and the speeds that you have just referred to, this is Baloyi asking him another question. 30 kilometers, 15 kilometers. What would your comment be regarding the distance and the speed? And Dupree said, my lord, obviously the vehicle speed is indicative of something in the road making it travel at slow speed. I'm like, WTF? What the F? What is going on? I'm like, what is going on with Dupree? That, guys, go re-listen to that re-examination. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. I think Dupree was fed up or something. I don't know. But it was not giving what it needed to give. I kept asking myself, what the F? What? Well, the state concluded the re-examination. The judge spoke to Dupree in Afrikaans, and they shared jokes. Looks like he was happy with Dupree's testimony, and the court adjourned till Monday. So, whenever you see our judge kicking with a witness, and know, he loves speaking Afrikaans to the people who speak Afrikaans, particularly of this, you know. He likes them. And he was making jokes now. He was making jokes, speaking in Afrikaans and making sure that, you know what, we feel it. We feel it. So, guys, I have a question for you guys, and I need you to answer me. Do you think that somehow they got to Mr. Dubry? It's not like we can disregard that he was awarded a tender and stuff. You know how tenders are like in this country. So, Mr. Anonymous, do you think they got to Mr. Dubry in these couple of days? You know, because it was quite a transformation. That Mr. Dubry that we listened to last week compared to this one today were two different people. So, guys, what do you think? Do you think they told him, you know what, we're speculating, of course, this is all allegedly. Do you think they're like, the tender? We can always give it to someone else. Do you guys think that was the situation or what? Because I'm like, I'm lost. I'm